Before we get into the video, I have something super exciting that I want to share with you guys. As you may or may not know, me and my friend Paige have a little small business. We take discarded, thrifted items and turn them into art pieces, and we're so proud of them, you guys. We have so much fun doing this. We try to make everything sustainable. We try to do everything secondhand. We have an Etsy shop and we've had it for a while. It's always linked in my description, but we got approved for a booth space at a store called The Painted Tree. It's in Chandler, Arizona. The booth is officially set up. We're not fully done decorating yet, so if you happen to stop by, I promise it'll look good eventually. We just fixed it up the other day and it looks significantly better than when we originally set it up, but still. We're so excited and we are so proud of the things that we have made. So if you're in Arizona or if you're in the Chandler area and you want to stop by, and then obviously with us needing to have inventory for the store, a lot of things have been taken off of our Etsy, so different things will be available in the store versus online. It's kind of hard because everything is unique, everything's one of a kind. But I will have the Etsy link down below if you're not able to visit our little shop in person, but if you are, I would love to see it. If you guys go, like, take a picture or something, I don't know, send me your favorite piece. But that's all I wanted to say for now. I promise I'll stop rambling. Let's get into the video. Hey y'all, I'm back and I have more of your Let's Not Meet stories that I'm actually like terrified to read right now. This first one, I started skimming it, you guys. What is going on? I started skimming it and I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for this video, but we're gonna get started. This first story says, Gas Station Stalker. Me and my friend at the time were hanging out with our boyfriends and some other friends while they were fishing. But of course, being girls, we didn't really want to sit around and listen to boy conversations or continue to fish since we had been there for over 5 hours. That is so relatable, it's insane. So me and Amy decide that we're gonna go to the gas station about 10 minutes down the road to get some snacks and drinks for everyone and so we could have something to do. We get in the car, leave for the gas station, and when we get there, I fill up my gas tank with my credit card, so I don't have to walk all the way in and carry the snacks all the way out. The whole time I'm noticing this guy propped up on the side of the building smoking and just looking around. I don't think much of it, but I'm very aware of my surroundings. I pull up to park in a spot before getting out to go into the store to grab the snacks, and I end up having to park pretty close to where this guy was standing. Yet again, I don't think anything of it until me and Amy walk by him and a huge rush of fear hits me right in my stomach. I'm a very anxiety-filled person and pay way too much attention to everything, but I've never felt that way about a stranger that I hadn't even talked to. I felt like I was gonna throw up everywhere. At this point, I think Amy kind of noticed something was wrong, but I didn't want to scare her, so I acted normal and grabbed the snacks. We go to the counter to pay, and I take a deep breath before I walk out of the door behind Amy. Amy's walking, and she passes the guy right up with no problem. I'm a little further behind with my hand on my keys in my jacket pocket. She had the bag with the snacks. She's already to the car by the time I'm going to pass this guy, but instead, he steps out in front of me and blocks my path. Fear hits again, but I act calm and I say, "Hi, can I help you?" I thought maybe he was homeless or something, I don't know. The guy says, "Yeah, you can give me your number." So I look at him and say, "Sorry, I can't, I have a boyfriend," and then go to walk around him. He steps out in front of me again and says, "Are you sure about that?" I say, "Yes, I'm very sure," and go to walk around again. He steps in front of me again and says, "I bet he's not as good as me." I laugh a little scared laugh and say, "Well, I don't plan to find out." That's genius. But I have to go. I'm actually meeting back up with my boyfriend now. When I get to the car, Amy asks me if I know the guy. Really worried, I tell her no, I don't, and I have a really bad feeling about this. I tell her to text her boyfriend and tell him we're on the way back. She texts, I pull out of the gas station. I'm watching all of my mirrors, hoping not to be followed. For a while when we were on the main road, I didn't see anyone until I saw his car. Now would be a good time to mention that I knew which car was his because when we walked back out, he was at the car getting another cigarette from his friend in the passenger seat. So yes, there were 2 of them, but only one talked to me, the other stayed in the car. So right after we had turned off the main road onto the back road, meaning we had 7 minutes at most before getting back to the boys, this guy pulls up behind me, honking his horn and screaming stuff that I couldn't understand out of the window. Now, the speed limit on this back road was 30, and there were multiple spots where you had to drive past water, taking a sharp turn. I had no plans on accidentally killing me and my friend trying to escape 2 creeps when I knew we would be back at the fishing spot where the 5 guys were waiting. That plan didn't last long though, because these guys were so close to my bumper at this point, I thought it might be possible they were actually touching my car. I sped up and started doing about 50, only for these guys to speed around me and slam on the brakes. I slam on mine as well, barely missing them. Then, without hesitation, I speed around, only for them to do the same thing again. At this point, I'm telling Amy to get the boys on the phone, but they aren't answering, of course. And then I remember I had a big knife in my door. So I reach down, pull it out, roll down my window, and I hold it out the window and yell, I suggest you keep driving or I will stab you. They slowly start driving again, but they're going about 15 now, and this is where I made a mistake. The smart thing to do would have been to stay behind them. But of course, I was scared and I was only 16. I had no idea what these guys wanted or why I felt so terrible being near them. So I drive around and I start doing the speed limit. When I turn off the first turn to the boys, I realized I did exactly what they wanted me to. But at this point, my adrenaline had kicked in hard. I knew there were 5 guys at the spot, and I also had a knife on me. So I let them follow me, and they did, until they saw me pulling into a parking spot right beside the boys. They then kept driving, but slowly, and the way he looked at me when our eyes met, I just know they didn't have good intentions. Girl, they were chasing you. They were trying to hit your, they were slamming on the, girl, no shit. Just kidding, but like, after this, since I was so paranoid, I started thinking about how they couldn't have possibly known that we were on the side streets. They weren't in eyesight of us when we turned. I was searching all over my car for a tracking device or anything that could explain it. I never found anything. For days after that, I would go out fearing that I would see these guys again. I didn't for a long time until one day, I saw them sitting at the same gas station almost exactly where they were last time. I didn't go to the gas station for almost a year after that. I would never go again. And I always watched to see if their car is following me. Luckily, they never did again, but to this day, I still wonder how they knew where we went. I'm like, do they just like sit at that gas station waiting for women to come so they could follow them? I'm so glad you had that knife. But also for that, not to scare them enough is really terrifying. This next story says he went in the house. This story happened a few years ago in Portland, Oregon. I was a young waitress on my way to work. My husband was home sleeping on his day off. I lived in a small duplex that shared a courtyard with another duplex. Our friends lived in the connected unit to ours, as well as the unit across the courtyard from them. When you leave the courtyard and walk down the driveway, about 2 cars lengths long, you're on the sidewalk of our short through street. When I back out of my parking spot and begin driving, I'm in the center of the road. I drive to the end of the street, a T intersection, and then encounter a man riding a bike about to cross in front of me as he had the right of way. He's talking or making noise, carrying a bag to collect cans, and shaking an empty crunched Red Bull can. He's shouting at me, asking for cans, waving the can for my attention. This is a common thing I've seen in my area, so I'm unfazed by the situation. I shake my head no, take my right turn, and head off to work. But I see him turn down my street where I had just come from, and something made me feel uneasy. I thought he would have gone straight since he was already going that way. I immediately pull out my phone to text my sleeping husband. My apologies for texting and driving. I wasn't to the main road and was going slow. I just briefly mentioned a strange man yelling and shaking a can at me and to maybe keep an eye out. Put my phone away for the remainder of my drive to work, about 20 minutes. When I get to work, I check my phone and I have a reply. A man just walked in the house. I instantly wanted to know what happened and if everything was okay. Like, what happened? What did you do? What did he do? So as the story was told to me, my husband never got the warning text, but he did wake up to the door opening right after I left. He assumed I forgot something, but didn't hear any movement. He called out to me, no reply. He called again, nothing. He got up to see what was going on, walked into the living room. What are you doing? He calmly asked the man, standing inside the house with the door wide open behind him. He said he didn't know why he asked so calmly because typically he would have fought a guy on the spot for something like this. Maybe he could tell something was off with the man. He wasn't a normal man, so he acted accordingly. Or maybe he was half asleep. The man said something, but it's been a year since this happened, and this part didn't actually happen to me. I don't know exactly his words, but he didn't make much sense. Then he just said, cans, and started trying to get old soda cans off a side table left over from the day before, as if he was just casually helping us recycle. Get out of my house, he shouts to the man. He thinks that's when reality kicked in. He starts walking towards the man backs out to leave, and gets away without a fight. The unit across the way from us was a man who was a live-in caretaker for an old lady, so he was always home and smoked often. He was coming out for a smoke and heard my husband saying, "Get out of my house." "That guy was in your house?" he asked. As he said that, our friend from the other unit had been hearing the commotion. He happens to be a very large, tall Navy veteran holding a bat who echoes loudly the question, "That guy was in your house?" and begins walking into the situation. Out of the house behind them is another man who asks, "That guy was in your house?" The chain reaction of people saying, "That guy was in your house," was humorous, as if a cartoon, they said. Everyone was just shocked at the audacity of this strange man, including the man himself. He just got on his bike and rode off, never to be seen again. Seriously though, the odds of this happening are so odd. This man did not see what driveway I pulled out of. He didn't even know if I had just left a house or just happened to be on that street. My house was exactly in the middle. Plus, when you walk up the driveway, you have 4 doors to choose from that all look alike. He just so happened to do all of that and pick the only unlocked door. It was a total fluke that the door was unlocked. I think we were waiting for a package that day, and for some reason I thought that was the right decision when quickly leaving the house. I know everyone around there lives with the doors locked. We typically did, but the one moment we didn't, this happens. So, to the can man, let's not meet. Cans? Like, that's crazy. If a man walked into my house and just started cleaning up cans, packing up my cans, because Lord knows I got them. Get out. I'll give them to you, but please get out. You can have the cans if you leave. Okay, and this last story says, if I wasn't so paranoid, we would have been kidnapped. Hey Courtney, I posted a couple of my paranormal stories here before. I've experienced so many encounters with the bad people in this world, but this one was the worst. Me and my family always go to this park that has trails, a river, a park for kids for our family cookouts, or whatever really, just to relax. I loved this place. I would be like 10 walking the trails alone, and now I refuse to even go anywhere near that park. That day, me and my boyfriend and my cousin took my 4 dogs on a walk on the trails. It wasn't dark yet, but it was close to getting dark. About 5 minutes in, I started getting a sickening feeling, like something was off. And I expressed that to my boyfriend and cousin, but I'm always paranoid, so we just kind of brushed it off and we kept going. About 15 minutes into the trail, there was a man with sunglasses, a hat covering his face, and a backpack standing off to the side of the trail, texting on his phone. To a person who doesn't frequent this park much, might not think anything about it, but me, I'm there all the time. There is no service anywhere in that park. It's a dead zone. Pointed it out again, but it was brushed off because I downplayed how scared I was, because again, I'm always paranoid. When we passed him, he started following us, and that's when my anxiety went way up. He kept his distance from us, but was cutting through the woods diagonally when the trail curved so he could get to us faster. I pointed it out and I told my boyfriend I was gonna pull out my phone and pretend I was looking at something, and I wanted him to stop walking to see what the guy did. And exactly what I thought was gonna happen, happened. The man stopped as soon as we did. That's when the paranoia was becoming reality. My boyfriend had me and my cousin walk in front of him so that the guy couldn't snatch us from behind. That was working until we got to a part of the trail where it goes right next to the road. I look up and see a silver S10 truck on the side of the road. It was running, but the lights were off, and there was a man in the driver's seat watching. I made my boyfriend aware, and he put us on the side of him that was further from the road. At this point, I started crying because my anxiety was amplified so much. When we passed the truck, the guy kept walking towards us, so my boyfriend handed me 2 of my dogs and my cousin the other 2. My dogs are giant and very protective, so if it came down to it, they would kill for me. My boyfriend always carried a knife, so he reached into his pocket, obviously so the man could see, stops and pulls out his knife and starts to turn towards the man. When the man saw what my boyfriend had and his body language, he turned and ran back to the truck, which made it very obvious that he was up to something suspicious. The rest of the walk was scary. I kept thinking trees were people and I just wanted to be out of the park so bad. We got back 20 minutes later and it turns out that my family was getting suspicious of the situation because they didn't know what was going on, but the trail only takes me about 30-45 minutes to walk. We were gone for an hour and a half. We told them what happened and then we left and went home. I haven't been back since and I never will. So creepy stalker who ruined my favorite place ever, let's never meet again. Fuck! No, because that's the worst part, is that like now you're scared to go someplace that like you love and grew up going to, like you and your family, you have such good memories there, and it's like it just takes the one bad memory to completely ruin it. It reminds me of this one time though. It was not, obviously this is like way worse of a situation, but I went hiking once. If you guys know, if you live in Arizona, whatever, there's a hike called Camelback Mountain. It's a pretty hard hike, but I had gone one day when it was like getting cooler out and it was near sunset because I thought it would be pretty. So I hiked up a little bit. I did not do like the full hike or anything, but I hiked up a little bit and there's this like ramada area with like seats and like shade, whatever. I was sitting there and I was by myself and there was nobody else on the mountain. The parking lot was fucking empty. I probably shouldn't have gone. I was like in high school at this point, so honestly, I just didn't really think much of it. So I'm sitting there waiting for the sun to set because I wanted to take pictures, and this man appears out of like nowhere. And it seemed like, because I was standing like towards the edge of the ramadas, I don't know, but it seemed like he was trying to like almost hide behind like the pillars of the ramada. It was weird as fuck. I like honestly don't fully remember the situation because this happened so long ago, but I tried to like sneak away. I was like trying to like leave without making it obvious that I was suspicious of him for any reason. And so I like took a couple pictures and then like just walked off. I had my headphones in, but I didn't have music playing because I wanted to be able to hear. And I know that I like walked back to my car and I was perfectly fine. I kept like looking behind me. I never saw him behind me. He didn't follow me or anything like that, but it was still really scary. It's scary that we even have to like our first thought is, I have to get out of here. And hopefully I can do that. That's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any other creepy, weird, stalkers, scary stories, I don't know, that you want to share with me in the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. I put that little ramble in the beginning, so I don't really have much else to say. I'm gonna put that in a couple videos though, just a warning. You guys see that same clip a couple times. But I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.